on here with your forecast for February 2023. Short month, short forecast, but it's not like there aren't exciting things happening, starting with the Leo full moon on February 5th. That means the entire weekend, it lands on the weekend this time, the moon will be in Leo. Friday night, February 3rd, it is in Cancer. Maybe a little bit less of a party night, but it's still almost full. Maybe a little closer to home. I would say Saturday night is definitely the night to get out, though, for this full moon. It's the party moon of the year. If the Leo full moon isn't the favorite full moon of the year for you, we have others, but I like the Leo full moon. And so we get the month started with a bit of a bang. But before the full moon on Sunday, we have Ceres stationing on Friday. I would think that with Ceres stationing, we would be looking towards something like major news about the environment, global warming, overall health of us all. Now, a lot of people tell me that, we've heard of that before. Not everyone feels that Ceres is the Earth Mother, but it certainly seems that when Ceres is prominent, we get things that affect us all through some kind of biological kind of or meteorological kind of thing. Ceres was an underrepresented member of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn back in 2020, just before the pandemic. Just saying, although you could read that a couple of different ways. So keep your eye out, see what happens on February 3rd, Friday, with the eye of trying to figure out what's up with Ceres, trying to figure out what Ceres is having to tell us. And we have the full moon on the 5th. We have Venus making a nice sextile. Venus is pretty busy this month, and she's in Pisces, where she's dignified and where she's very, very happy. And she is going to make a sextile to Uranus on the 8th. Now, this is like midweek, but Uranus is in Venus's home sign of Taurus, and Venus is very happy where she is in Pisces. So I'm thinking that this is going to be a really nice opportunity for us to make some shifts and changes in relationship and aesthetics and so on. It's just a nice opportunity. Got to take advantage of it, though. It's only a sextile. It's not forcing you to do anything. It is just giving you the opportunity. If you look back to January 14th, and who wants to look all the way back then, Venus was square to Uranus, and they were in each other's signs, and that was much more dynamic kind of energy. If something began around that time, you may be getting the second installment of it right around February 8th. Now to the 10th, just before he leaves Capricorn for Aquarius, literally a day later, we have Mercury meeting with Pluto. And this is coming now pretty much towards the end of the week, the second week of February, the first full week of February. Mercury, Pluto, always about speaking the truth to power, right? This is a speaking truth to power kind of aspect that is likely to get some folks to say things that are on their mind, which is a good thing. It's a good thing to say what's on your mind. You know, if you have something important to say, this is the time to do it. This is the time to lay things down. Boom. Then Mercury goes into Aquarius, starting to make us think about Aquarian themes, because while the sun is in Aquarius now and Mercury's joining, next month is the big month when we have the planetary shifts. In many, many ways, I would say that February is laying the groundwork for March, because in March, Saturn is going to leave Aquarius for Pisces, and then Pluto is going to leave Capricorn for Aquarius. Those are the big shifts that are happening. And so we have a little bit of a break in the action, and yet we're feeling that motion. It's like, they say astrological events cast their shadows before them, and this is a great example of that. We're feeling this Aquarian energy. So keep an eye around the 10th and 11th to see what happens when Mercury gets into Aquarius, giving us some hints about what's going to happen next month. talk about well, before we get to that, I want to make a point that Venus on the 15th, Venus is meeting with Neptune. Now, I kind of feel that Valentine's Day comes a week early this year, and it is the Leo full moon, and even maybe the almost full if you've got a relationship going on, the almost full Cancer moon on Friday night, the 3rd, that might be the better time to celebrate. But certainly the Leo full moon is great. But with Venus meeting with Neptune on the early hours of the 15th, Valentine's Day itself is really put into that sort of soft focus that, is so nice for romance and things like that. So if that's, your thing, there you go. This should be a really good time for it. Valentine's Day falls on the 14th. Let's see, the 10th, but that's like a Tuesday or something, huh? Well, the other thing about Venus, Neptune is if you're sitting at home pining away because you have no one, that'll really help you. That'll really help you get the most out of that. Get a box of chocolates and watch some, rom-com on Netflix or something like that, I suppose would be the strategy for you. Now, speaking the truth to power, February 16th, Pallas Athene in Cancer, right? In about 10 degrees Cancer, is stationing to go direct. She's been retrograding in the sign. This is another aspect. When Pallas Athene stations, you get truth tellers, right? People who are able to say what's going on. So we have that Mercury Pluto aspect, and less than a week later, we have Pallas Athene stationing direct. So I'm saying the middle of February, there's liable to be some real truth telling going on. The Venus Neptune may fog things out a little bit, but other than that, okay. On the 19th, Venus will sextile Pluto. It is an opening sextile. If stuff was going on for you in relationships and maybe finances at the very beginning of the year, when Venus met Pluto in a conjunction, this is the next chapter. So if you look back to New Year's, which should be easy to remember, things that were happening right around then, you get the next installment. We have the new moon in Pisces on February 20th, the same day, in fact, the same hour that Venus transitions into Aries. The Pisces new moon is in many ways it's the last new moon of the astrological year. And it is a more reflective time. New moons are usually, we talk about seeding and planning things for the future and stuff like that. Pisces new moon, not so much. It's a little bit more about reflecting and thinking about, where you've gone, what the past year has been about, and to a certain extent, looking forward towards the coming year and but not like planning where you'd like to be or anything like that. That was last month. This is much more like just reflecting, taking it all in, and going forward from there. Venus moving into Aries on the 20th means that for the next 3 weeks or so, much more outgoing social type of energy. The moon will be waxing, Venus is in Aries. It's time to get something new started. That's like for socializing and stuff like that. This is a beginning time. Keep that in mind. Let's see what happens next is that on the 21st, Uranus and Mercury are in a square. Mercury is in Uranus's home sign of Aquarius, so they're really on good terms with each other. Brilliant ideas and insights. This is a time to, have your notepad with you, or you can write it on your phone if you want, and, put your ideas down. It may take a while to figure out how to make them work, but you'll figure out how to make them work. That's great. So right there, this is coming right out of the new moon, February 21st. Venus is in Aries. It's sort of a quick start. Maybe the Pisces new moon is a little bit of a, slow down, dreamy kind of time. Right back in kind of quickly with this Mercury square to Uranus, and then goes on to trine Mars, and Mars is in Mercury's home sign. So, and technically Mercury is also dignified, it's exalted in Aquarius. Action, if we have that movement between Mercury square Uranus on the 21st and trine Mars on the 22nd, it is very much like you get the brilliant idea and you act on it. Coming right out of the new moon, it's fast, But I think this time you can probably do things really, really quickly coming out of this new moon. So that quiet time doesn't seem to last too long. Going forward from there, Venus meets with Jupiter on March 2nd, which is, of course, not part of February, but we're feeling that energy as we get to the end of February. And in fact, there's a lot of harmonious aspects in there. For relationship, particularly, Venus will, on the 27th, meet with Vesta, and that's a whole other story. Maybe we'll get to that in the course of the weekly forecast. And Mercury will sextile Juno. So there's some nice relationship energy building towards the end of the month. In fact, there's a lot of good relationship energy all month long. Fun Leo, full moon, that nice Valentine's Day, Venus, Neptune meeting. And then we have this building towards the end of the month. Even the Venus Pluto aspect would be something that can be built upon as you go forward. So there's a lot of interesting, good energy for things this month. It's not the most dramatic month. It is not the most dramatic month. We do have the asteroids changing direction, or Ceres is a dwarf planet. Pallas Athena is an asteroid. Not a lot of major stuff going on in some respects. That's all happening next month. But there's other stuff to say. So follow me. Who's us? Follow me with the weekly forecast, and midweek next week, we will take on a whole new question in astrology. We'll be asking how to use these forecasts in a practical way. And we'll talk about that then.